Hello, I'm Michael Hayman. This is the Frontline, brought to you by Elite and powered by Seven Hills. We're here at the studio of the London Stock Exchange Group with the show that shares inspiring stories of growth from founders, funders and the leaders of fast growth firms alike. Now, my guest today is the coffee chief, David Abramovich, one half of the duo that brought to life Grind, the barista business and bar that is keeping the capital's caffeine culture on the up. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. Now listen, tell us a little bit about the business. Been quite the story.
Yeah, it's been a ride. So we founded Grind in 2011. I inherited my father's mobile phone business, which by that stage was a single site round building on Old Street Roundabout, which is obviously starting to become Silicon Roundabout and was kind of caught up in the gravitational shift of London.
So good timing on the real estate.
Very good timing on the real estate. Yeah, we're very lucky to start off with an amazing building and a great spot.
But actually, I mean, you mentioned the mobile business, tech background for you, and I think your co-founder was a DJ I was reading. And in terms of what happens there when you bring that kind of DJ tech type vibe together? Yeah,
it was very different. So yeah, my last business was a VC-backed tech business that I started with a friend from school. Kaz, who I co-founded Grind with, was one half of the Body Rockers from Sydney, is DJ producer, and he was just a friend. And basically I decided to turn this building into a coffee shop, and he really missed the cafes in Melbourne and wanted to get involved. And basically being Australian made him the most qualified person I knew about coffee at the time.
But being Australian as opposed to Italian or
French? The flat white is an Australian / New Zealand invention.
Is that right?
They fight about that. They fight amongst themselves about that. But yeah, obviously lots of Italian immigration there, and that kind of comes together to combine to the new style of coffee culture.
Because when you read a lot of the blogs about you, is that actually a lot of people make that point about that Australian coffee is a world phenomenon, and actually, I suppose if you're in the know, you know it. But how do you then turn that into a brand for the non-specialists? Tell us about the journey.
Yeah, look, I think the thing for us was always, we thought the independent coffee product was great, but we didn't think the way that anyone else was doing it was great. So my angle was, let's use tech wherever we can. Let's make this a proper brand and do things properly, take credit cards, have a proper loyalty system, think about speed of service, professionalize independent coffee.
So relevant skills then, the tech entrepreneur can bring that style, that shape into the business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, running it, I think business it's not a lifestyle, it's a proper, let's look at this and treat it like a business, not like a hobby. And that's not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but that was what the independent coffee scene was. It was little places, down alleyways, little sign, owner operated. It wasn't raising money, rolling out, growing, trying to expand. It wasn't professionalized, if you like.
So let's use your own words on it. Here's a quote you said: every year more and more people are seeking out a better coffee, as well as going out of their way to avoid the big chains. What point do you become a big chain?
Look, I think the big chains have done an amazing job of creating this thing where we walk around with coffee cups and where we go and meet for coffee, and it's easy to forget that 20 years ago, you didn't go and meet for coffee. That just wasn't a thing 20, 30 years ago. They've created this market in which you can go and pay £3 for a cup of coffee. That's great. At what point do we become a chain?
Right.
Well, it's not necessarily about not becoming a chain. It's about having stores in the right places and keeping product and brand really, really high and consistency really, really high.
But do you look at those big chains? I mean, are they the enemy? Are they what kind of keep you on your toes? What you don't want to become? I mean, is that kind of a lesson for you, or do you see them as a
I think
healthy competition?
I think you'd be mad to say they're the enemy. I think that's silly. I think they do lots of things really, really well. I happen to think that the product we produce is a lot better than some of them. I also think they do things really well. You can go into a Pret in an airport in France in the middle of the night and you get a sandwich and a coffee that is the same as the one you get on Carnaby Street in the middle of Soho in the day. That's an impressive feat. And consistency of product and quality of product is all relative depending on what you're trying to do. But
your bet is on the fact that we want to be more individual than that we want something more personal to us.
Yes. We want something more personal, we want something higher quality, we want something higher designed, and we want something branded and a bit more experiential than just kind of cookie cutter, same thing.
So bring it to life for us. Those that haven't been into a Grind, what are they going to find? What's a typical store like?
So we're now restaurant spaces as well. So we are coffee shops during the day, cocktail bars at night, and restaurants all the way through. So think of us as the pub for millennials, if you like. Think of it, you walk in, firstly, you're going to walk into a beautiful space. Not any old space, it's going to be a great space. And it's going to be highly designed, full of marble and nice fittings and nice light fittings. And, we win lots of awards and we go to town on the fit out because we want people to come and hang out twice a day at the weekend as well as during the week. So it's about creating
experience.
Space. Yeah, firstly. Right. Then you're going to notice the music. You're going to go, wow, the soundtrack in here is amazing. The music's quite loud and the music is kind of underpinning the whole thing. And we have our own recording studio above one of our sites, and obviously we have the musical background and lots of musical friends and friends from the music industry. That's important. Then you're going to get a member of staff come over to you and talk to you, and they're going to be highly engaged, young, interesting, smiley, happy, and they're going to sit you down, and then you're going to order something, and whatever you order, it's going to be under-promised but over-delivered.
What point did you realise that this was more than going to be just coffee, that actually alcohol, food, the whole thing? I mean, was that from the get-go, or was that part of the journey, realising how the offer would evolve?
It was evolution. I think what has created the brand and what's made it special is that it has evolved genuinely in an organic way. It wasn't dreamt up in a boardroom by a lot of guys looking to make a big business. It just started with coffee, and then a year in, it felt crazy that we were kicking people out at night, and we realised we could make an amazing espresso martini with our coffee, and the espresso martini was just taking off as a drink, so we started serving espresso martinis, and then we were a bar, then we did a couple more sites, and then I got offered a big space on London Bridge, and I was like, yeah, we've got to do this space is amazing. And then after that, it was like, well, actually, the space is really big and the rent's quite high, but it's got extraction for a kitchen, so let's do a kitchen.
You could do the kitchen.
And now we can do some smashed avocado and poached eggs. And it really has just evolved.
So there's a journey and adventure. Yeah. But when that journey adventure starts to turn into a model, that actually you get it, I mean, how do you maintain that sense of authenticity, that sense of spirit that you've been talking about, when actually you're a much bigger business where a lot of things become standardized in terms of processes?
People. It's just people. Like, it's just about the team. It's about not compromising. Like, it's so easy to, let's change for this milk and it'll save us 30 grand a year. Let's cut this corner if this was frozen. So you just cannot let yourself compromise on product quality. And then it's people. It all just comes down to, we've got a team of 250 now, it'll probably be 400 in a year. It's just finding, recruiting and retaining really great young people.
And growth is a big part of that. I mean, you're embarking on a crowdfunding raise to look at actually that next stage of growth. Yep. Give us a sense of where that evolution will take you. What's that growth journey going to see for Grind?
So, look, I think the next stop, we trade from 11 spaces at the moment. I think that's going to grow to about 20 in about 18 months. And that's going to be a mix of company-owned large restaurants and franchise stores in train stations and airports. So I think, we've gone in sprints, 1 to 3, 3 to 8, 8 to 11, and now we're embarking on another one and crowdfunding some of that growth, as you say. So it's about getting to that next bit of scale and going over, there are different challenges along different parts of the
And when
journey.
you're crowdfunding, presumably you're going to activate your customer base, people that are the tribe, I guess, that enjoy Grind. I mean, that kind of customer relationship is part of the magic, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Last time we did it, we welcomed 1,300 of our customers as investors. We're hoping to do that number, if not more again. And it's amazing to have all these people as ambassadors for the business. And they're very engaged with what we do.
And on your adventure, because it does clearly sound like that in terms of actually the growth of the business, how do you keep getting better? What's the lessons for you as a business leader?
Figuring out the different roles at the different stages of the journey. Obviously, when you're very young, you've got 10 jobs. Like, I was finance and ops and people and all of these things. And obviously over the time you get scale, you get resource, and you get to hire an amazing director of people, an amazing finance director, an amazing ops director. So it's about, a big part of it is finding those people and keeping them happy.
Keeping them happy. Is it also about letting go a bit when you bring those people in? And what's the coping mechanism for that?
It's not something that I struggle with. Like, I'm very clear that, my job is to make myself redundant eventually so that the business can carry on without me. And I think I've never done a shift in a site. That was never part of it. It was all about, what excites me is creating a brand and building something bigger. And do you know what? It might come the day when there's the right person to take it from 20 to 50 is not me, in which case I'll step back and be chairman or something.
And we're right out of time, but can we expect to see Grind internationally? Can we expect to be taking...
Yeah. In the next few years, that's definitely the plan. Major cities around the world.
Top countries?
Love to do Copenhagen, love to do the States, love to do Berlin, European capitals and American capitals.
So watch out, Big Apple, Berlin, Copenhagen, who knows, they're all getting ready for Grind.
Hopefully.
And that's all we have time for today. A big thank you to my guest, David Abramovich, whose story provides us with a double shot of optimism. From macchiatos to martinis, the success of Grind has been to keep the coffee culture bang on trend. It shows you that you can always reinvent a winning formula to serve changing times. Join me again for more stories on the front line. I'll see you then.